This is essentially really three stories or three books in one. The first book is very spectacular. It handles the cliffhanger, I think, very well, and it's really, really tense. I think King did an excellent job of following up the promise of the end of the third book, and it's really, really carried out very well. You finally understand why the ka-tet has to form the way it forms and how each member is really contributing to the whole quest. So that part of it I had no complaints with. I thought that was really laid out very well, very methodic, very powerful. But then we get the second book, which ironically is a kind of Game of Thrones novel. It's essentially a backstory about the gunslinger and him falling in love. It's not bad, it's actually a very good book, but it's also very uneven. There are passages which have incredible amounts of lyrical beauty, it's very cohesively done, and it's really well organized. But there are other sections within that story which don't make a lot of sense, kind of anticlimactic, a little self-contradictory. He's doing a bit of retconning, and unless you know all of the King books, you're going to be very confused. You're going to wonder, like, whoa, wait, how did this character arrive here? Who are they? What are they doing here? Again, if you do read all of King's books, this won't be a problem, but if you're not a King fanatic, you'll be a little lost. So the good parts here are better than the bad parts, but it's a very, very uneven book for me. And again, the second book, I mean. So it's kind of a mixed bag. However, when it's very good, it is very, very good. And the ending book, essentially the story going back to present day, where we meet old friends and old enemies, is really, really well done. So if you are a King fanatic, there's a ton of Easter eggs and cameos, which are incredible and I think very well written. But I do think the middle section had a lot of promise, but it just goes astray in too many places. But it's so critical to read it to understand the whole books, to understand the whole quest. So you have to go through it, but only parts of it are really powerful. The other parts just really drag down the story and don't seem to add very much. But I understand what King was trying to do because he just stays away from love stories on the whole. So he kind of wanted to confront that beast and wanted to show he could really do that genre, just do the romance genre and mix it in with the Western as well as sort of this, again, basically Game of Thrones novel, and just do a straightforward kind of Tolkien novel for us in the middle. And so I understand the motivation. I just don't think it worked out as well. But again, most fans really prefer Wizard and Glass over all the other books. So I'm kind of in the minority. I think it's just not there with Wastelands. Wastelands is a masterpiece. This is sort of a masterpiece, but it's very, very flawed. If you can look past the flaws, it's fine. There are so many great little scenes that it probably won't matter. But I just felt at various points the characters don't make sense. The choices are really, really puzzling. And even though he does a good job of constructing Jonas, who is basically the antagonist of the young gunslinger, it's very anticlimactic and disappointing with what happens to him. And the basic storyline just still kind of bothers me in terms of like, wait, what was the point of all this? It just seems like they basically needed to get to a certain object, hence the glass. Basically, the glass is a very powerful, mystical object that they need to complete the quest. And so a lot of the story is functionally about that. I understand that. I even like the way he's twisting some of the old mythologies. So again, there's a lot to love here, but it's just not as strong as Wastelands. So I'm going to have to give this a 7.5. This is still a really good grade, but you have to come in with somewhat more tempered expectations, which is really sad because the beginning book is amazing. It's a really, really, I would say just those beginning 60 to 70 pages are worth the whole book. So it's that good. But then the middle book is, it's kind of a little bit all over the place. But the final sections are really, really amazing as well. So it's kind of like a roller coaster ride with this book, but it's more good than bad. So I'd highly recommend this. This is one of those things that, yes, you do have to sort of read it to complete the quest and all that kind of stuff, but it's not drudgery. I was never bored. I was just taken aback. Again, I'm a writer, so maybe I'm thinking it too much with my writer brain, and I do use it as a model, and I even go back to it to learn from it. But I just think from the average reader, they're going to be a little disappointed. Even if you're a King fanatic, it'll make sense, but you'll still be sort of like, I don't know. It's not one of his most well-written books, because again, he's just trying to do, I think, too many things at once. But again, I'm all for him experimenting. I just don't think it worked out as I think he hoped it would. All right, this has been a non-spoiler review of Wizard and Glass, Volume 4 of the Dark Tower Saga. Thank you for listening.